So I love Twitter, okay? It's no secret. But at the same time, I am very much aware that it has problems, it faces challenges, it is somewhat of a toxic environment. So what can Twitter do to sort of just make it a little better?
Right. So Twitter has been working for the past couple of years to provide all these apologies and mea culpas and say, oh, we're going to do better, we're going to do better. But it never really actually changes.
Right.
Jack Dorsey very recently said, what we're going to do is we're going to open up verifications. They're going to open it up, they say, to just about everybody. So the idea is that the bots, the trolls, a lot of these other folks that cause a lot of problems on Twitter, maybe they wouldn't be verified, and it's a little bit more of a buyer beware. You wouldn't have to worry as much, or maybe those folks would fall back a little bit more into the ether. They wouldn't be as persuasive or as powerful as they are now if more people have verification.
But don't they also face the problem of people conflating that badge with some sort of endorsement?
Yeah.
Right? How do they work around that?
So it's good that you mentioned that. So there's this guy, Jason Kessler.
Yeah.
He's a white supremacist, and he was behind the Charlottesville march last year. Twitter gave him a verification badge.
Right.
And people flipped out. They really didn't like it because they thought that this was Twitter basically endorsing a white supremacist.
Right.
And they go and they say, no, that's not what we're doing. We're just confirming the fact that Jason Kessler is Jason Kessler.
Right, like that piece of shit is that piece of shit.
Basically, right.
Maybe it helps out with accountability. I mean, that's got to be some of the focus, is to sort of pin these things, remove the anonymity to some degree, and have people be more responsible for what they do.
Yeah, the only problem is that, as I started with, Twitter has been trying to clear out the toxic behavior, the negativity, the scamming, all this other nonsense on its site for years. Is this something that's really going to solve the problem? I don't know. Maybe the verification is there are people that are going to scam that and figure out ways to game that too. And then that little check mark, that little badge becomes right.
So why did it take so long? I mean, I know, like you said, they've been fighting this over and over. It seems like they can do no good. Every time there's some sort of controversy, they have an immediate response, and it seems like they just drop the ball over and over again. And I'm not saying this is something that should have a defined playbook, but why is it only now that they decided to do more widespread verification?
Okay, so first of all, they had to come up with the idea.
Yeah.
A lot of these different social media platforms, they have like the check mark. It's not just Twitter, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. And they're all basically like for celebrities, for your Kim Kardashians and your Donald Trumps and everything to verify that. But a lot of it is also like a cat and mouse game, where once you pivot to something else, once you switch this policy or whatever, folks that are going to troll, they're going to figure out ways to troll things, or they're going to create new accounts. I mean, like at this point, you still don't need to like give your driver's license to Twitter to open up an account, and I don't think you should, but that would be a way of verifying your identity. But look, it makes sense. It's like, what's the point of it being a vanity plate? If you could make verification a little bit broader and make it so that people actually know who they're talking to a little bit more,
Sure. I mean,
then let's stop it with the whole thing that like I'm just burnishing my reputation with this little check mark.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to a point where Twitter has become the sort of, it's like the stenographer of life, right? And we're sort of documenting every last thing. Why not get to the point where everyone is sort of identified as who they say they are on Twitter? If anything, because it has become the world's sort of like press release machine. And why not be verified on something like that?
Yeah, it was, for a time, it seemed as though Twitter might just basically die and get crushed by its own weight, and it wasn't going to solve those problems. I think Donald Trump has obviously reinvigorated the platform and proven that Twitter is going to last a very long time, because it's too important as this marketplace of ideas, as this place where everybody goes, or a lot of people go, just to express themselves and to express what's going on in this very breaking news fashion. So the more that Twitter can do something, whether it's these verification check marks or something else, to try to keep things going and make it less crappy, that could, I hope, benefit everybody.
Right. All right. Well, hopefully Twitter itself.
No comment.